you guys. It's Michelle Angelic, Truth and Integrity Warrior. Today I'm going to be talking about my diet to help those who are trying to keep up their immune defenses on guard at all times to not trigger an autoimmune response, right? It doesn't matter what condition, health condition, uh, it covers everybody. Everybody. I'm going to wait a little bit, wait to get some people on here. But I know this is recording. It's going to be a video, in general, to be able to help people. Um, me trying to set up where I can read questions right here on this computer. I don't have my big old paw face up in the phone trying to read the questions. So if you give me just a couple of seconds so I can figure out how to do this because this is all new to me. But I will be getting on it in just a little bit. I got all my food laid out right here, right in front of me. You can't see it, but I want to make sure I cover everything. How I replace this for that, because I don't stop eating. I just change up what I'm eating because it doesn't trigger an immune response, right? All right, so what am I doing right here? I hope this works, right? I'm able to read the questions right here and talk to you over there. Hoping it works. Let's see. I'll get better at this and it'll pop off sooner, meaning you can just get right into it, even if there's nobody there. But then I got to figure out how to navigate, I'll be able to read your questions. So I want to be able to answer people's questions if they have about how to navigate through this. Just get right into it. There's nobody there. Well, I'm sideways, right? I'm sideways. Be able to read your questions. All right. Gotta turn this shit around. Let me pause on myself. All right. All right. All right. All right. Let's figure this out. Right? Let's figure this out real quick. 1 second. 1 second. I definitely will be editing this out, but I gotta figure this out as we go. I do apologize. All right. Do that. Hopefully that works. Let's see. All right. All right. So I'll be editing this. Hopefully I can. I don't know if I can edit it live, right? But here we go. Let's see. All right. So I don't have anybody on right now, so I'm gonna be waiting a little bit till somebody comes on. Or you know what? I'm not. I'm not gonna wait a little bit. I'm gonna get started right now. All right. So why do I call this a soldier's diet? My name is Michelle Angelique. I'm gonna go over a couple of things of where I've been, why I have to eat a certain way to navigate through this toxic environment called a reality, right? If it's not the products we're putting on, it's the food we're consuming, the air we breathe, the water we take in. There's always something causing an effect to our genetics and is breaking us down. And so I've learned to create a food system where as long as we'll go down to the root so that if we're taking care of ourselves, they create a defensive line to make sure as things are coming in, they're moving it out where it needs to go, right? But as soon as they, let's just say, they never drop, right? And that's the wrong way to say it. Our defenses don't drop, but what happens is our immune system gets triggered into an attack. And if it's being under attack, we have an inflammatory response, which can cause psychological problems, emotional problems, physical problems. Uh, we get bigger. Some people they will recognize you eat a sandwich and all of a sudden you're big. You can't just get fat off eating a sandwich. What's happening is your body just created inflammation because it's responding to what it just ate, right? And so because we can't avoid all these toxins, we just got to recognize you're coming in. But if we have a strong line of defense, which are cells, and I treat them like soldiers. I give them exactly what they need with supplements. Keep that strong arm up at all times. I always have tools to be able to push back against toxicity because there's a fucking war in there. It really is with what we got to deal with in this reality, right? And so if I treat my cells like soldiers, look at it differently. We can start looking at our bodies differently. And so a soldier's diet, I'm taking in a lot of supplements, which have to be clean supplements. Next Saturday, I'm going to go over supplements and how I stack them, what I do every day to make sure my soldiers, from head to toe, my cells are always getting exactly what they need, like tools to build a house. You can't expect your workers to build without tools, right? You want them to get a job done. Well, if they don't have tools, they can't. And that's what supplementation does, right? Because we just don't have enough nutrients, which are the tools for the soldiers, which are the cells, to get to work with. So as I'm eating food, I'm not creating that trigger where my cells got to now go fight a fucking battle that a lot of times can't win. And on a regular basis, that's what we're doing. We're doing it 24 hours a day, every day of the week, every day of the year. We don't recognize we're doing it. And it's what I want to bring to our attention. How is this happening? How is this immune response happening? And I've been able to do it through my diet. Keeping So I'm trying to say something very complicated, easy, and it's not easy, right? So give me a little bit of time to figure out how I'm going to explain this. But the toxins I'm avoiding, me personally, has made it where I can take care of any and everything that's negative that comes in. Everything, even radiation, toxic radiation. My cells are fucking ready to walk through that shit and come out okay. And I'll be able to explain all of it. I can back everything I say up. The reason why is because if the cells are full and loaded of the nutrients they need, nothing else comes in there to take over the cell because the cells have the defenses they need to be strong. Hiroshima, the people who went through that toxic environment, the ones that were able to survive were the ones who had minerals that was in the seaweed soup, right? The miso soup. The whole hospital survived. Why? Because the cells were full of minerals instead of accepting the minerals, the toxic minerals that came from the radiation from the outside. Because the cells need minerals, right? Vitamins, minerals, proteins. They're looking for that stuff. And so if we ain't giving it to them, it's going to take it from the outside. And that radiation goes in and penetrates through the skin, affects the body. The body starts taking it in because it says, I need any mineral, right? It doesn't matter if it's toxic or not toxic, but if we got them loaded with the good minerals, let's put it this way, with the good minerals in that scenario, people are able to survive because the cells won't take the bad if they already got loaded with the good, right? So that's one way to explain how strong our soldiers are, but they can't be strong if we don't give them fucking tools, right? And so I look at food like tools. What not nutritional value, but what nutrients do they have? Meaning, what tools do they have that my cells need to maintain every day, all day, energy, mobility, functionality, lubrication. All these things matter, and it goes through the diet, right? Through the diet. I do a bunch of little videos with the aloe vera that I take and how I take it, a little video here, a little video there. But in this one, I'm going to go through fats, proteins, carbohydrates, vegetables, fruits, and sugars. That's how I line it up. And then that's the order of what I eat. I eat heavy fats, then protein, then carbs, then vegetable, then fruit, and pretty much sugar is a zero. Added sugar is a zero, unless I want to taste, something sweet and give myself a break, within the week. When I say a break is not always be so rigid. A lot of people don't know, but when we eat sugar, our muscle tone definition goes under a little coating of fat, right? And so the less sugar we eat, the tighter and the nicer and the firmer our muscles look. That's a little detail. Hey, how you doing? My roommate's here. It's not a problem. Where am I at? All right, so be it that this is a soldier's diet, I had to learn to be able to eat whatever was available And that's why I call it soldier's diet, because the soldier has to adapt to its environment. He has to figure out what the fuck to do with what it got. Um, my channel is on YouTube. For a lot of you who don't know, is focused on the new toxicity, new to our awareness. Not new because it's just happening. It's been happening for a long time, but it's new to our awareness. It's nanobiotechnology is being put into the food system. This means technology that's alive, that's functioning, that can take a signal response and build and do what it's told or what it's been programmed to do, right? And this technology has been into my awareness 2018, and it shredded me from head to toe when I got a 5G modem. When I got a 5G modem, literally it just shot out of my body from head to toe and it left holes in me. Didn't know what's going on. Very long story short, I have videos on YouTube where you can see on my channel, Truth and Integrity Warrior, where you see pictures of the holes this thing left me, the scar tissue from, like I said, head to toe, from back to front. And I'm somebody who always had clear skin, and from that day on, the first month of 2018, January 2018, never the same. So bringing us back to where we are right now, I had figured out how to stop this technology just from constantly shredding through my skin from the inside out. And it was every time I would consume something that would create that immune response, right? And my body had to go and attack. This tech would just run amok and run right through my skin. And I didn't know that is the little detail I needed to be able to help myself have some type of normalcy through my skin, right? And a lot of people are suffering this, and we don't know. We don't know that they're going through this stuff, and they don't know why they're going through this stuff. And it's the technology in the food system. So you can look up technology in the food system, nanobiotechnology in the food system, spoken about by food scientists, by scientists, and saying why this is so good for us, why they think it's necessary for us to have. It's actually very, very dangerous because you can program the information in that technology to do whatever it's programmed to do. And if we already have a trust issue with the authority, or I shouldn't say the authority, but those who run operations for this world, definitely going to question how that's been programmed, how that technology has been programmed, right? We haven't said, yes, please put technology in my food so I can eat it. We don't even know what's going on. And so this diet covers everybody, everything, at any budget, anywhere, because we're being told eat organic, eat organic. Well, that's great if you have the money to be able to do that. If you have the car to drive yourself to the store that offers that, because a lot of us live in neighborhoods where that is not available, that is not what's offered, and it's not accessible when you have to walk to get your food. That's another reality that people live, and they don't have the money for the food, the car to get them to the food, and it's a serious problem. It's a serious problem. I had both those issues going on at the same time, and I was eating the same thing over and over again, which were hard boiled eggs, tuna, chicken breast. Not pre-made chicken breast because they flour it and put a bunch of different stuff on it. The seasonings even have flour in them. Um, the oils drop the immune system. And so that's what I'm going to go over right now. And I'm not going to say drop the immune system no more. I'm going to say trigger an immune response. That's what I'm going to say. Trigger an immune response, because we don't get what drop the immune system. It just means that shit's going to go fucking haywire. Shit's crazy everywhere, and everything's under attack. That's really what's going on when that autoimmune system gets triggered. So what do we got this triggering it? What do we got this triggering it? The technology does not trigger it. What triggers it is when we eat something that causes the body to respond to a trigger. Let me tell you the biggest trigger we got going on right now, and that is high lectin proteins. Now, these are found in natural foods, and in these natural foods, the way our grandparents used to make them, they used to do things to make sure to get rid of it, and we don't do that anymore. So we're just eating it on a regular, and we're not recognizing it. So what does a high lectin protein do? It breaks through the barrier of the intestines, and poop comes out. It's pretty much that simple. Everybody else says it very technically, very pretty. I'm gonna say just how it is. And that waste that comes out, the body goes into fucking defense right away. So what causes that high lectin to open up the pores? You can find that looking. It's very scientific. It's very technical, but they call it irritable bowel syndrome. They got all kinds of different names for it. But in the end, high lectin proteins trigger the response of the immune system to fight the waste that is now in the system. You know, it's out of fucking confinement. It's not where it's supposed to fucking be. And so avoiding that, making sure that the food that I eat doesn't trigger that, what ends up happening is this tech doesn't run through my body at the same time. So for whatever reason, as soon as my immune system gets triggered, boom, tech runs through. Not just me, but other people as well. We're talking about millions of people are going through where their skin is shredding and they don't know why. They have great deal of pain. They can feel shit moving around in their body and they don't know why. And they're calling it tremors and ticks and all kinds of things. And it's technology. They're feeling the effects of the technology being active in the body. And then for those of you who say, well, it's not active in me, and so it can't be happening if it's not happening to me. Well, it's supposed to be dormant in everybody. Everybody's not supposed to know this shit's going on, because if we were supposed to know, it'd be super public and on TV and on the radio, right? So it's known. If you look it up, you'll find it. Well, it's not publicly. It's not in our public attention. You know, it's not in the attention of the public. So, what do I want to say? What I'm trying to see is if there's anybody there. One person, great. You can type something that'll let me know that this is working. If you can just say hi, whoever that one person is. You can put one watching now, started streaming 16 minutes ago. It'd be very helpful if you just say hi. That way I can see it here and know that I can answer right here. Um, what is it going back to? Oh, so to be able to defend my body from this technology that's going in no matter what, right? Everybody's getting it no matter what. Um, no, it doesn't show that anybody's talking right now. Trying to do two things at one time, so I do apologize. That's the only one thing I don't like about lives is I can't stay on subject. Right? I can't stay on subject because I got to check and see what's going on right here. No, somebody do me a favor. Somebody just say hello, type something. Let me know you're there. How good. Oh, somebody said you did say hi. Okay, I found it. It was on the wrong side. It's over here. I'm so new. I'm so new. It's ridiculous. All right, it's Kendall. Thank you, Kendall. I appreciate that. All right, all right. So it works. You can talk right here and read right here. Great. Hi, Kendall. All right. So where was I at? Where's that with this technology running amok in the body? So the other no worries. You do you. All right. Thank you. Thank you. So this technology is a very big factor that maybe right now we're not paying attention, but I guarantee you in the next few years it's gonna be everybody's fucking concern and people are gonna be running to figure out what the fuck to do. So right now I'm just gonna go over what I do, and I have been battle tested. Let's put it like that. I've been doing this since 2020, and I have trial and error, trial and error, trial and error. I figured it out, and so now I can share with you what I do for myself, so you can do for yourself and your family, because we're not gonna have time to figure this shit out when it hits harder, when it hits harder, because it's already hitting hard, and it's just not publicized, not publicized. And the people who come to my channel are people who know what this is like, and they're going through something, or their family members going through something, and they're looking for answers. So, what I want to start with fats. Let's go over. Oh, let's go over the toxins real quick. So we have nano biotechnology is a number one hidden factor that we got going on. This thing will like squeeze the shit out of your heart and just fucking be 20 years old and drop you and kill you. People are having heart attacks and they find out that they don't have anything in their arteries. They got no clogs. They just had a heart attack. Well, because this technology does a whole lot of things, and squeezing the shit out of our organs is one of them. I've lived through that. I say lived through that because it almost killed me a couple of times. I have other videos showing what to do with magnets to break it's electrical field, it's current, it's information transfer. You break it up with magnets, right? This is gonna be about foods. It's about foods and not dropping the immune system. The other toxin is drain cleaner in the food system. So if we say herbicide, pesticide, we don't pay too much attention because it's like, yeah, what doesn't have a herbicide? What doesn't have a pesticide? Who cares, right? Nobody cares. I say drain cleaner, just like, oh, you stop the car, you're like, what's up? What's drain cleaner doing? Drain cleaner pulls up the metals from our brain, and our brain has the information that gets our neurology, which are neurotransmitters, which send signals of operations of how we're supposed to function physically, how we're supposed to think, how we're supposed to feel, our mood. All of that has to do with our neurotransmission. And if our neurotransmission runs off a relay of metals, right, which are called enzymes, which are proteins with a metal center, if it's eating those and it's removing those, we're gonna have some fucking problems in operations. Doesn't matter what operation we got going on with our humanity, we see we got problems out in our world. What the fuck is going on with people? They're unraveling. That's correct. This drain cleaner is unraveling our neurology, our psychology, and our physicality. So what I recognized also is when we take a diet like the soldier's diet, where we don't trigger an autoimmune response, guess what? We start being able to recover. And in 40 days, I tell people just try this for 40 days. You might not be able to do it for the whole of your life, but try it in 40 days and watch what happens. Watch how you get your mind right. Watch how you get your emotions right. That nothing's getting triggered. We're not getting triggered for 40 days. And so the body has an opportunity to repair, regenerate, and renew. And don't forget, next Saturday, I'm going to show you the supplements that got to go along with this diet to be able to give the soldiers that maximum amount of tools to get to work in those 40 days. And I say 40 days because, people don't like to try stuff because they feel like it's forever. But everybody got 40 days. I know everybody can try 40 days. And when you feel the difference, you see the difference, and your world changes for the better. You get younger, get fucking stronger. As you get older, you're just like, what? We're doing this with food. We're doing this how? We're doing this with supplements how? It's because we're paying attention to making sure our fucking defenses stay up at all times. And tools are coming into the soldiers so they can get to work. It pretty much knows now what this diet is. In the stacking of these supplements is coming up next Saturday. That I'm gonna be doing a live next Saturday. In that supplementation, it's gonna help get our neurology back, get our neurotransmission back, and it's all backed up by the science, so that you can do your research before you take anything. Because a lot of people are on a lot of medications where if they eat grapefruit, that should have killed them. Not that the grapefruit is bad; it's the system works so improperly. The medication is so aggressive that this person won't even be able to consume a grapefruit and process it. You feel what I'm saying? The problem is within the medication and the fact that the body is not functioning in its proper operation. So you got to get the body back to where it can. And that's where functional doctors come in, functional medicine doctors and integrative medicine doctors. When you look them up, you can actually get an MD to help you wean off of the medication slowly while building up the nutritional lineup. Because they know that nutrition is first. I mean, we're nutritional beings. We grow from nutrition. And when I say nutrition, I mean nutrients are tools. Our cells are soldiers, and they're looking for some fucking tools to get to work. All right, so let's hit up fats. All right, put everything in front of me so I don't forget what to pop off on. So we got olive oil, coconut oil, what other oils you want to? You got your animal fats. If you eat animal meat, you got your animal fats. What are we trying to stay away from? What causes those? Those are good, by the way. Your avocado fat, avocado oil, coconut fat, all that stuff right there. Those fats are called good, healthy fats that are not going to create an autoimmune response. Which ones do? Which ones do create that trigger? Which ones have the engineered drain cleaner? How about we say it like that? Which oils have engineered drain cleaner? They're gonna fuck me up. That's what we want to know, right? And so that would be a seed group that belongs to a family. And when I say a family, I mean these seeds come from a high lectin protein seed. And so because they have a high lectin, they create an autoimmune response even if they didn't have drain cleaner. But because a drain cleaner is a part of them, as soon as that defense goes down, boom, that drain cleaner kicks in. Let me give an example of what I mean by this drain cleaner kicks in and people get triggered and start behaving all fucking erratically. Uh, People who go through psychosis telling you that creating these autoimmune triggers with this drain cleaner, messing with the neurology. You got Dr. Blaylock, who had research studies showing that when they changed the diets to the patients that were in a mental ward, they were able to have them calm for a long period of time, days on end, as soon as they gave them back. And that's with paying attention to that detail, paying attention to that detail in their diet, right? And then as soon as they give them the regular American standard diet, boom, everybody went fucking crazy again. Started having their episodes. We'll put it like that, right? So you can look up Dr. Blaylock, and he has a book called Nutrition and Behavior. Because that's what's going on. You can make somebody better, or you can break somebody down. You can do whatever you want with nutrients or the lack of nutrients. You know, and so that's what we got going on. And so we want to stay. I stay away completely of any seed oil, which would be soybean. Or I should have had all this stuff written down because now I feel like I'm on the spot, right? It's canola, soybean, sunflower, safflower, any hydrogenated crisp. No, I can't even see the brand. Any hydrogenated vegetable lards. Okay, no, that's just plastic. Also, to add to the problem that I just said, it also creates a hard plastic interior in the arteries, right? And that's why they get clogged. No hydrogenated anything. Um, Anything that's a high lectin seed oil, you can actually look that up, and it comes. Oh, corn oil. You know, any of these vegetable oils, I should have had a list. I don't have a list. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna work on getting a list together so you know what not to touch, because we can put that on the refrigerator and be like, "Ooh, can't touch that," because remembering everything. I mean, I know this stuff, and yet I can't even tell you right now. Like, I can't spit it out my mouth. Um, but let me tell you what oils just to start working with to give you a break and get started is avocado oil, olive oil. We got animal fats. Make sure nothing else in them. It's just the animal fat. You don't want nothing fucking mixed with it. Just take it nice and plain and simple. Um, Flaxseed oil. I see somebody put flaxseed oil. I don't touch flaxseed oil. Seeds. You have to be very well. I'm very particular when it comes to seeds because you have to do a lot of research to find out if it's in a high lectin category. So there's a lot of things out there like capers are high lectin, and you would never think, one would never think it's a high lectin, but I can't have capers and I love them, right? And that's a rosebud, a pickled rosebud. Red tea, high lectin. You never think red tea has anything to do with high lectins, but yet it's there. So no red teas. But I can have green tea. I can have white tea. I can have black tea. So when it comes to that, I just keep it super simple: avocado, olive, coconut, animal fats. When it comes to butter, it's only sheep butter or goat milk butter. The reason why is because dairy milk from cows, when it's pasteurized, it creates a high lectin protein. So I don't touch anything pasteurized that comes from cow milk. And if it's heated, if you have raw, let's say you have butter from raw cow's milk, right? Or raw cow's milk cream. You don't want to heat that to 160 because then it becomes pasteurized, and then you're actually going to get the high lectin protein kick in, the intestines open up, and the waste come out. See what you got, Kendall. I'm the same way. I draw a blank when I'm presenting. Thanks, I appreciate that. I was just like, what? What? Like, it's like, I know this shit by fucking heart. I think I repeat this stuff when I'm fucking sleeping. I talk about it so much, and now I gotta say it. I'm like, what? Yeah, presenting it make you stand a little still. So I appreciate that. Thank you, Kendall. Let's see. The list of bad things would be key for me. Thank you. Okay, I will work. I want to do that sooner than later. right? Because I'm building a website, and this website's gonna have that information. But I want to do it now, sooner than later, so that I can just later on just cut and paste and put it onto my website, right? That bad list. Okay. Thank you, Kendall. I appreciate all that. So those are the fats that I use for cooking with. When it comes to olive oil, a lot of people don't know the difference, or what is the difference, I should say, between extra virgin olive oil and virgin olive oil. It's just temperature gauge. And when I say temperature gauge, is virgin olive oil and takes less heat for it to burn. So it's not very good at heat, the extra virgin olive oil. But the virgin olive oil can handle more heat. So you can look up those temperatures. And why does that matter, right? Who gives a fuck about if I'm heating it or not? Who can handle it? It looks like it's handling it just fine when it's in the frying pan. I say this because I used to say this. I used to say this shit. I'd be like, what the fuck? What's the relevance? I want to know the relevance. So what if I'm heating it? Well, what happens is trans fat gets created when it goes over its heating uh, ability, because everyone has a different heat temperature. These fats have a different range that they can handle heat, right? And if it goes over that, it becomes a trans fat. Well, who gives a fuck? Well, what's a trans fat? Who cares what a trans fat is? Well, a trans fat, what makes it relevant is it becomes plaque and it builds up in the arteries and it stops blood flow. And blood flow is what keeps us going, right? We need blood flow, good blood flow, the whole time we're alive. And so you want a high heat oil to handle high heat jobs. And we eat so much fried food that becomes this trans fat or this plaque buildup in the arteries. It becomes a problem. So that's all that is. So if I make a salad, pasta salad, which I don't eat pasta, right? But I'll be showing you the hearts of palm pasta that I use, which is not pasta again, it's hearts of palm. They have a cassava flour pasta I want to try, right? But anyways, I put my extra virgin olive oil on there because it has more nutrients than the olive oil. So you got olive oil and extra virgin olive oil. Olive oil is good for cooking, and I'll put it on top of my food too. Don't get me wrong, but if I'm going to be using extra virgin, I use that to put on top. If you don't have anything but extra virgin and you're gonna cook, so cook. Don't let that fucking stop you. Don't think that what I'm saying is limiting you. We get in situations where we think we can't do something. We can. We can. I've had it where I didn't even have any drinking water, but I'm dying of thirst. And what I do, I have to go drink out of the faucet because I'm not gonna I'm fucking thirsty. I feel like I'm gonna die if I don't get some fucking water, right? But I've been in some real tough situations where I'm gonna drink what's available. So don't let that limit you. So that's the fats, proteins. Now, when we're buying meat, there's all kinds of shit that you can talk about meat, right? I just want to narrow it down to cooking quick and knowing that you can buy some meat and get by for lunch, for work, right? I got a fast life. We're moving like this. I'm at work 24, it feels like 24 hours a day, but it's 12 and a half hours a day. And I need to take all my food with me. And so you want a fast meat, right? You want something fast. You don't have time to be cooking a steak every day or cooking. And a lot of people nowadays they don't have time to cook, right? So what do they do about meat? When we buy meat and we buy that fast meat, that luncheon meat, doesn't matter even if it's the most expensive fucking luncheon meat, they find a way to get a starch that has this drain cleaner in it. They'll put a potato starch, which drops. Let me go over this real quick because if I don't say this first, everything else I say won't make sense. What are the natural foods that have high lectins? You can look this up yourself. People can look this up themselves online. High lectin foods in nature are for the vegetables. We got tomatoes, chilies, squashes, fruit, melons. I just had to put that out there right now. Squashes. For fruit, I said it's only melons. I shouldn't put the fruit in there, but it just squashes and melons for whatever reason. They remind me of the same thing. But when I say squashes and melons, I'm talking about cucumbers because cucumbers can be a fruit or a vegetable, right? Could be looked at either way, but they have high lectins. and it's a lot of food to remove from the diet. But like I said, try for 4 days. If you're struggling with any physical, emotional, mental, psychological, uh, muscle building, anything that your body's not doing, and you wish it just would be normal, try this. I mean, really, really try this for 40 days. What was that? What's that? Highlight. So I'm not gonna go by category. I'm just gonna shoot out what I know. Potatoes have a high lectin. So what do? I switch it out for a sweet potato. You got your white sweet potatoes, which are not called white, right? You almost got so many different names for the same goddamn sweet potato, and then they'll call it a yam, and then it'll be called one thing in one Chinese store, and then it'll be called something in another Mexican store. So this is how you look for it. You scratch it or you pull a piece off. You're gonna buy it no matter what, right? So pull a piece off and boop, it's white on the inside. This is the one I make with oregano, rosemary, garlic, onions. I have this in the morning instead of a regular white potato. If I want to make a mashed potato, I'll do the same thing and mix it with a lot of garlic, right? Tastes great. A little touch of sweetness, because this is the least sweet of all the sweet potatoes that I've found. Now, this one with the orange in the inside, these guys have a completely different taste. Will not taste the same when you put rosemary and oregano and all that stuff. It tastes good, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't taste more similar to like what we're used to, a white standard potato, right? What do you got? Jeffrey, glad you are doing good. Yeah, I'm doing much better. Thank you, Jeffrey. Yeah, you were talking to me when I was coming up, going down, coming back up. I remember you very well. Hey, Jeff. I should call you Jeffrey. You were there when I lost my bike and I was trying to get to work when I was back here in Austin. I remember, and I took off to Pennsylvania. Now I'm back in Austin. So yeah, I'm doing better. Thanks. This sweet potato right here. I put both of them in the oven. It doesn't matter. I'll buy a whole bag, wash them up real quick. Real quick. If you want to take this skin off super fast, you get a Brillo pad. I get a an iron, the scouring pads, those metal scouring pads that just quick wipe. It cleans it right off, right away. No peeling whatsoever. Most of the time, I don't even do that. I just rinse them off, put them all on a pan on aluminum foil or on what do you call it, wax paper. Put it in the oven for an hour at 350 degrees. What ends up happening is I have food to go. These motherfuckers taste delicious cold in the morning. Sounds like a soft, wet donut. I love it. I love it. This one is less sweet than this one. You guys see which one you like the best. But when I want something on the sweeter side, I go with the yellow, right? So you can find different ways to use these potatoes. But like I said, the regular potato, which there's 1,500 of them, they drop the immune system, or they have a high lectin. All right, what do we got right here? I'll be right back. Give me a couple minutes. All right, all right. Who's Sam? Sam Cocker. Oh wow, I get nervous when I say that last name. Sam Cocker. All right, Sam Cocker. All right, I like gloves. Hey, everyone. What you mean you like gloves? You like it when I'm talking about boxing? Is that what that means? All right. Yeah, never give up on life. Yeah, no, it's too much shit to do out here, Gregory, to be giving up on life, right? All right, Sam Cocker. What gloves do you have? Well, I'm a fighter, so I'm definitely gonna have some gloves. But I'm gonna be coming up bare knuckle fighter, so I won't be having any gloves. Gloves are done. I'm gonna use the 16 ounces for sparring, for practicing sparring. Right now, I'm not doing any of that because of my foot. Right, my foot. I ruptured the fascia in my plantar. That's what they call it, right? My left foot. All right, where was I at? Okay, so the cereal grains. Not all cereal grains are the same. So you have amaranth and you have sorghum, which they would be called a pseudo grain. Which throw that that word right out the window. I'm never going to use the word pseudo. It You have grains, and then grains are in categories of certain families, and the high lectin protein cereal grains come from a grass family only, and we're all fucking done. They're in a fucking class all by themselves, and they need to stop being mixed with every other grain in the world that doesn't cause an immune response. Don't trigger, uh, open up the waste system in the intestines and send out the soldiers, right? That's what I'm talking about. So our grandparents and our great grandparents, they knew how to cook things. They would, let's say for instance, the tomatoes and the chilies, right? Our Italian and our Mexican ancestors, grandparents, they would heat that up, roasted, toasted. Then they'd sweat off the skin because the high lectin is in the skin. And then they'd make the tomato sauce or the spaghetti sauce and that Mexican salsa with that beautiful peeled tomato and a beautiful roasted chile. That they all took all that time to get that shit off, but it's a high lectin fucking protein. And they knew that without knowing that. They knew that was the way to do it. And that's how it goes in the body. But we don't do that anymore. We just throw all that motherfucker in the blender and just say, boom, ready to go. And it's not really our fault because society has pushed us to the limit where we ain't got no time for nothing no more. So it's just like, boom, boom, boom. Faster is better because we're trying to keep up with societal demands, just to survive. And so, unless you're doing that stuff and unless you've checked, like if I were to do that, take a tomato and a chili and sweat it. I haven't done it yet. Salsa is my fucking favorite. I'm Mexican, salsa is my favorite. But I've had to stop eating it because it'll do that. It'll trigger an immune response. One day, I'm going to do my tomato, do my chili, do the whole sweating and the peeling of the skin, and then I'm going to see what happens because immediately the tech would just run right through my face. My face is number one. It'll fucking fuck up my face, my leg, and my ass. Just fuck it up. And so, and it's fast. Like, I could do it right in front of you. And then you see red start coming out. You see a trigger response to this technology. You can grab my arms. I mean, it's just something you can see. And I'm just not ready for it because I've been doing this for so long that it takes forever to repair those tears, over a month. And I like looking some type of normal. I like looking some kind of normal. I just tried something that I had to give a try to because I can't sell something to you guys that I haven't tried first. And I'll talk about that in the supplement video next Sunday. But it was fucking on my skin. I'm just like, all right. Obviously, I'm not going to sell that to you guys. I'm not going to sell that to you guys. But what was being sold to me isn't actually what was being sold to me. And I caught him on it. And you guys don't have time to be doing that. And when I say you guys don't have time to be doing that, people don't have time to be doing that, but I do it and I've been doing it, and this is how I check stuff. And if I'm gonna present something to you, it's because I've already done it. I'm not gonna tell you, hey, try this, and I've never tried it. That shit ain't gonna happen. And I don't even talk about something I don't know nothing about. Even if I sound like I should know something. If I haven't done it, I don't know shit about it. I can give you an idea of who does know something about it, but I don't. Right? So you can guarantee that I'm only gonna talk about what I've tested and tried for myself. So these grass cereal grains that are part of the triggering effect to an autoimmune response are corn, wheat, rice, oats, barley. I mean, the list can go on, but those are a sugar cane, right? So those are the main ones we eat, and they are in everything. And so when we think we're not eating them, we are. They drop it in the name of modified food starch, cornstarch, rice starch, rice flour. All you have to do is grab something in your kitchen, turn it around, and you'll grab a canned milk, right? I use this canned milk because it doesn't have soy in it. It doesn't have a modified starch in it. So our food is laced with this modified fucking starch that's drain cleaner on top of the immune response. And so it was like, well, what's the difference? One's an immune response and one's a drain cleaner coming in and causing a neurological effect. And neurological doesn't just mean your ass is going to be crazy, aggressive, mean, tired, fatigued. And the reason I'm saying this is because when you fuck up neurology, you can even fuck up processes of motor skills, just functionalities. We depend on our neurological connections for everything. And I recommend people start looking that up because the more we understand about that, we recognize, oh shit, operations ain't working right because of this. And so if that drain cleaner is coming in through an apple, a genetically modified apple, right? Let's say they genetically modified an apple to take in the spray. Because this is how it works. They've genetically engineered a seed to withstand this drain cleaner. So as this crop is growing, they can spray that drain cleaner on top of the crop, and the crop don't die, and it comes to market, and we eat it. And the only way it got to market is because it's been engineered to be able to withstand the poison because it's become part of the poison. This is what's going on, and nobody's talking about that. And so when it goes in, it's depleting, taking out our electrical connections. And we there's like a copper cable is a connection. You know what I'm saying? It sends a signal not through a wire, but through like a Bluetooth. It's instant action at it. What is it called? Action at a distance. So as soon as a nutrient goes in or there's a nutrient missing, there is not a connection being made of a response of a cause and an effect of what we need to be able to function. I can put a bunch of videos up where you're hearing scientists talk about this, but all you got to look up is our neurology and our psychology and what happens if they're not working right. And you'll see that we're over sexualized, under sexualized, over aggressive, not even feeling nothing to what we don't even feel, we don't even do, and that all has to do with our psychology. So when I say we can eat an apple that has this drain cleaner, but guess what? Our defense is up. Body knows how to grab that shit and move that motherfucker out. Get out. You know, you're out because your body knows what to do. But what ends up happening is when we get this immune system response, all hell breaks loose because the waste comes out. The immune system now has to go into defense mode, and this drain cleaner takes a hard effect, a very, very hard effect. And you, like I said, I'm going to be posting. It's so much information that I feel like I'm trying to take a basketball of information and stick it down a straw. Just physically impossible, right? It's physically fucking impossible. So on my website, I'm going to have all these references where it's nice and organized. So if you want the data, we can back it up, right? But I just try to make the information as simple as possible because there's so much fucking information out there. I'm just trying to make it relevant. Like, why the fuck do I care? And how am I going to make this relevant to me in my life? You know, why should I go out of my way to do this? Because in 40 days you're gonna feel a fucking change. And that's what we want. We want to change for the better. We want our fucking energy back. We want our muscle back. We want our strength back. We want our fucking cognition back. We want our emotions back. We want to fucking relax. We want to be able to go to fucking sleep and get some rest. Right? So that's gonna come in with the supplements to be able to help balance those things out. So you guys can see what these nutrients, what these amino acids, these vitamins, these minerals, these proteins, what all these things are being built in the body so that we can get some type of relaxation, some type of peace in our lives. Because we got some hard, aggressive lives out there, even if we're just working, you know, is it very highly demanding, right? Very stressful. Let me see if anybody wrote anything. I love gloves as well. All right, it's your sap cocker. All right. So when it comes to our meats, check the back of the meat, and I guarantee you it's going to say some type of modified starch, modified food starch, modified cornstarch, a cornstarch, a rice starch. It's going to have a fucking potato starch. It's going to have a starch, and it's like, why? Why? Why can't I just get the fucking meat and some good old herbs and some sea salt, make shit basic? Right, I'm going to why, right? I'm going into why, but look, let me give you an example. So I get these from Trader Joe's, the sausage right here, right? And so when I look in the back, I gotta make sure every single fucking ingredient in there is not gonna trigger a fucking immune response because the tech just goes right through. First bite. And you gotta eat the whole goddamn package, right? And for other people, it's like, well, I don't have a technology don't fuck with me. Yeah, but you got some other kind of fucking problem, which might be called obesity, right? Obesity. So every time that waste comes out, the body says, let me make some fat to protect the fucking organs in this body. And so we keep producing more and more fat because we have more and more toxins. And some bodies, like my body, that's why I was always I wasn't even overweight. My body would just be swelling up. So we're not fat. We got inflammation problem going on, and so we want to cut back on the inflammation. We gotta stop fucking creating a triggering effect. We gotta stop sending out the shit through the intestines. We gotta fucking take a pause for the cause. You are the cause, and take it for 40 days. Try this for 40 days. See if your body don't start shrinking. They ain't shrinking. They just stop becoming inflamed. Just like fucking swelling up. And then you got skinny people who can't build any muscle. And that's all kinds of, that's another story, right? People who can't build muscle, they're missing potassium and supplementation that their body is not getting nutrients. And a lot of times they're not getting nutrients because again, this drain cleaner is stopping a block, so there's cause and effect. So avoiding this drain cleaner, avoiding our immune system, I should say. Let me go back. Avoiding this cause and effect of an immune system response is going to give us 40 days for our body to figure out what it needs to do right and how to work right. And that's the opportunity I want to give you guys for your bodies. So when you go buy your meats, you're gonna find it very difficult to find packaged meat without some type of modified food starch, without soy. You don't want any soy in there, not just because it also, not just because it gives an immune response. You know, you're triggering the immune system, or I gotta come up with the right word. You're not triggering an immune response, right? It also creates estrogen. We got a big fucking problem with estrogen, or everything is becoming feminized. Everything, females, excess estrogen is not good for females. Causes a whole lot of disbalances. Where just start looking that up. What does excess estrogen do to females? Because we're seeing what goes on to males, right? They're becoming highly feminized. It's because we have soy laced in almost every food product, bubblegum, toothpaste, mouthwash, and it comes in different names, right? But soy causes a huge problem with estrogen intake, and it's just lacing it after 60 years. You know, 60 years genetically, we're not coming out correctly the way we're supposed to. And we want to say, well, why are you feminized? Why is the world becoming feminized? It's because if you don't have a strong line of defense, like the men in our world, we don't have a strong line of defense like the men in our world. It's that simple. And we're losing the strength and power of men to defend family, right? To defend family. All right, to defend neighborhood, defend life. You know, the men and women are created in certain ways for certain reasons. The woman has the power within on an emotional to connect with what to do and how to do it and how to go about it. Like she thinks about everything and in a deep way. And so the power of emotion and mental connectivity, the power of the female, and the man and his powers on the outside is to physically be able to do what the woman has realized needs to get done. And that's how they work as a unit. They're like a fucking battery. But we don't have that no more, right? We don't have power couples um, that are the strongholds for raising a family. You know, we've been broken down. Our family has been broken down, and I'm trying to get us fucking back up with the food we're eating. This is what this is all about. It's not just about having muscle. It's about fucking fortifying and strengthening mankind, strengthening our unity between families, between men and women, raising our children to follow a good lead. But we gotta be that first fucking good lead to follow. And so, how we're gonna do it? We're gonna feed ourselves back into power and health. Little by little, these are my steps to move forward to help us get there. Because nobody's doing food like this. No one's paying attention to this detail. What I'm doing is I'm just making sure this tech don't run a fucking muck because we can't stop it. Can't stop it, right? But taking care of my defenses from this tech and putting in the supplements so my cells can fight back regenerated me, made me fucking younger, made me fucking stronger, made me mentally, emotionally, physically fucking strong. And I would have never have pushed the envelope with the supplementation the way I take it. Like the way I take supplements, I know what to take supplements. Like I take supplements. I don't go buck fucking wild. But what I want to let you know is how we standardize the way I take supplements. We're not doing it, and I'm fucking transforming. I'm transforming. I can't share it all with you guys right now because somebody will go do it and they're taking meds and it'll cross, and then before I even get started, I'm already getting sued. You know, and so I got to be very careful about how I do things. But eventually, all of this is coming up. All of this is coming up, so you guys can step by step start taking control of your life and being fucking power back. All right. So when it comes to meats, just buy regular standard meats. You buy your chicken, It's just chicken. You don't like chicken with nothing breaded on it because that's where the cereal grass grain is at. The drops or that triggers the immune response, right? It triggers the immune response because it has a corn, it has a rice, it has a soy. Look at the ingredients of everything that you read. Even when you just go buy regular chicken breast, make sure it didn't get sprayed with something. Sometimes they'll spray it and it'll be in the back what they brine it with or what they laced it with or what they put it on. You can buy roasted chicken. It's not just chicken. You read that shit and it got modified food starch and it says rice flour. It has all kinds of shit that you don't see on the chicken, but it's in the seasoning. That's what's going on. It's in the seasoning, and we're not noticing that. So we're thinking, well, I don't eat bread. I'm just eating this roasted chicken. Well, it has a shit ton of bread seasoning, or I should say, a bunch of bread ingredients in the seasoning, and it's in the ingredients. So you want to stay away from anything that says dextrose, that says maltodextrin. Those are usually from corn, unless it specifies otherwise. But if it says dextrose, maltodextrin, you're eating the corn, you're eating the rice, you're eating the what's the immune response, right? It's a great immune response. Let me see. So just buy your regular standard meats on Instagram on my Snafu Free Foods. You can see one luncheon meat that I found out of every luncheon meat across America. I've only found one luncheon meat that doesn't have any shit in it. It's a turkey luncheon meat. I don't have the name off the top of my head, but on Instagram it's right there, and it will also be on my website as soon as it comes up, so that when you look for something, you can find it on that website. Not everybody has Instagram. So when it comes to luncheon meat, unless you're getting that luncheon meat, you just got to do regular meat, shred it up, and put it in your sandwich. And when I go into sandwiches, what am I talking about? Is like, do I eat bread? Absolutely, but I make my own. And because the breads that we got standard out there, they will use some cassava, some tapioca, amaranth. Those don't cause an immune response, right? They don't trigger, they don't tripwire, they don't pop off an immune response. But then they go and mix it with corn or rice, and so it just throws that whole thing out the window, and you can't have it. So these are the flours that I use if you want to start learning how to make your own breads with it. You got cassava flour, tapioca flour. These are the things you can use, right? The arrowroot. Arrowroot, instead of using cornstarch in a recipe, you use arrowroot. It's a little trick a lot of people don't know, but you'll get the same texture, nice crispy texture when you use arrowroot. And you got sweet potato flour. Definitely makes your bread taste sweeter. Yeah, I have amaranth flour. Use amaranth flour. Something very special about amaranth. Amaranth is a very unique, powerful food of the Aztecs and was made punishable by death by the conquistadors when they recognized how powerful amaranth was, right? So amaranth flour, I have some right here. I live by this stuff, right? I live by amaranth flour, but it's really tricky to use. It's really sticky. It will pick up the moisture right out of the air. But with amaranth flour, what it ends up doing, this whole lot of fucking things. It does a whole lot of things. It really does. It's like fucking miraculous. But when you mix a little bit in with the other starches that I just showed you, it cuts the glucose. So if the glucose is say 75, right? When you make a bread, you eat that size of bread, and it spikes it up to 75. Putting a little bit of amaranth in that mix brings that glucose level down to like 45. And I got the research study to show exactly how that is. But anytime you mix a little bit of amaranth flour with another starch, doesn't matter what starch it is. It doesn't even matter if it's a cornstarch or corn flour or wheat flour. You mix a little bit of amaranth flour in there, cuts the glucose almost in half. And what does that mean for the body? It means it doesn't register fat. It means it's like if you eat a meal this big, it only registered it as if it was this big because everything turns into a glucose, into a sugar, right? The only thing that doesn't turn into a sugar is fat. So when you eat like say, I make this nice coconut fat. Where the heck is my coconut? I'm looking at it right here. I do 3/4 cup or half a cup, depending on how many calories I want to only do 1,500 calories a day. So let's go with half a cup, right? Half a cup of shredded coconut flour, unsweetened. You don't want no sugar in there. 1/8 and then you can put a tablespoon of maple syrup or 2 tablespoons, depends on how sweet you like it, right? Because some foods out there is like have to have a donut, but it's a great replacement for the donut. And I only do the maple syrup every once in a while, but I use stevia. Stevia is a sweetener, which is from a plant. No register of sugar, no register of glucose. Gives it nice and sweet. You mix that up, get a little frying pan, put that on the frying pan, little 5 minutes on each side, low heat, and it tastes like a donut. It's so good. It's like a coconut bread, like a coconut macaron. That's the best way I can explain it. Like a coconut macaron. Oh, it's delicious. And I'm getting my good fats. You get you have a long burning fuel so that you don't get tired in the day. You don't get that I don't get the energy. Energy comes from fat. We get energy from fat. We're told not to eat fat, but that was to break down our energy levels. Fat is where it's at. Live in the jungle, you eat fat, climb trees, get a lot of shit done. You're not eating all day. You know, you don't stop at a taco stand all day. You're not thinking about food because you got fuel all day from some really good fat. So those are the carbs. Also sorghum. Sorghum is a flour you can use. This stuff's amazing. I don't even know if you can see the word, right? You know what I'm saying when I say sorghum, right? So sorghum flour. Eventually I'm gonna have my own brand. This is my brand right here, Whoa Mexico, right? And I'm gonna be selling all of this stuff with my name on it. Because I tested and tried and proven all this stuff. I eat it. And so I'll be able to offer it to you all in one little place, one little shop, right? Working on it, working on it. But sorghum flour from Africa, that's from everywhere, right? But mainly Africa, Amaranth, Mexico, but you can find it in other places as well. But it has a story, right? Sorghum has a story in Africa. Amaranth has a story in Mexico, and both of those things are in India. I just don't know the story in India. But I know these stories, and later on, I'm gonna come up with a big old surprise for you guys for what's up with sorghum. Get it, consume it, look it up, but I guarantee you, you're not gonna find what I found about how incredible sorghum is. I'm not gonna go over it right now because it's like it's special, something real special. But those are the ones, the flowers that I use, and they can be used, and that you should use if you're trying to make sure that you don't trigger an autoimmune response. Veggies. All veggies are good to go except for ones that trigger an autoimmune response. You can look those up. They're called nightshade vegetables. Look up nightshade vegetables, and I'll give you a whole big old list, right? And so you got eggplants, and you got chilies, you got tomatoes, you got potatoes, squashes, melons. Come on, what else? What else we got? What else we got? Eggplant. I'm trying to make sure that I cover them, right? You can look this stuff up too. Things that we don't know are typical of this, but nobody's saying it. Is goji berries causing autoimmune response? Ashwagandha. It's an adapted. I love adaptogenics, right? Or adaptogens, but this one I don't touch because it creates that trigger. So it has high lectin protein. I want to remember all of them. Like I said, I don't have them on my website, but you can look this stuff up, and it's just stuff you should start looking up if you want to try this for 40 days. If you have a problem with this tech running through your body, or if you have any psychological problems, or your kids got problems, or you got weight you're trying to fucking get off, and you don't want to cause an inflammatory response. You want to see a normal fucking body. All these things matter. You know, all these things matter because we're all having problems with it. When it comes to fruits, I stick to frozen berries. I stick in the freezer a bunch of frozen berries. Berries have the least amount of calories, least amount of sugar. I can mix it with some coconut water. Those frozen berries in the blender. Put a little brandy in there. Have a nice little smoothie. You know, it's not even a smoothie. It's like a sorbet, right? It's like a little sorbet, and it's really nice, really really nice. They enjoy that after work and relax. Uh, no bananas. I don't touch bananas. The sugar's so high, you get all puffy, fat, and swollen. Just way too much fucking sugar. And so you want a resistant starch, similar to a banana. You got a plantain or plátano macho, right? Plátano macho. You can fry that guy up. You can do a lot of different stuff. Look up what to do with this guy. But if I want one, if I have a feeling of a banana, I'm gonna just stop that subject, right? But if I want some banana, I go for plátano macho, which is called plantain in English, and see how you can work and use those. And so that's something called resistant starch, and so it lasts a long time as a fuel and doesn't turn into a sugar, unlike a banana. When it comes to sugar, I try not to have any sugar at all, but when I do, I go to maple syrup. You just want a clean, basic maple syrup. If I don't have that, or your kids don't want that, or it's too expensive, you can't get any, the next one would be coconut sugar. My number one is this one, Trader Joe's stevia. Clean, simple, basic, no other ingredient in it. And then this stevia is a powder stevia, is green powder. Now the difference between these guys is this is the leaf and this is the extraction of the leaf. That's what we're going. So if you're making something with, let's say pineapple, you're making some kind of a drink, right? You're making a jamaica. Any of my beverages that I make, drinks, I use the green powder. It gives it a real tropical taste. Everything else, I use this one for, right? This has its own individual taste, and it does taste almost like a green smoothie. And so I don't mix this with other foods that I make. Say I'm making my coconut macaroon in the morning. I don't put the green stuff in there. I put the white stuff in there. And so that's when it comes to sugar. That's what I stick to, and keep it super simple. I hardly ever touch this, but if my kids want something like that and they want something sweet, I don't give them cane sugar because cane sugar triggers an autoimmune response, and we don't know we're eating cane sugar almost in everything. And so there you go. So you're like, oh, this is healthy, this is great. Yeah, it could be all kinds of healthy, but if you're trying to avoid dropping or triggering an immune response, you don't want anything with cane sugar in it. All right, so now I'm going to alcohols, talking about sugars, right? Cane sugars. When we make a vanilla extract, or when we go buy a vanilla extract, the base alcohol will be more than likely a corn. Not always, but pretty much always. Pretty much, right? I say pretty much because you'll have somebody who does it something different, but it's a sugar cane, and sugar cane alcohol with the vanilla bean soaked makes vanilla extract. And so instead of me buying that, because food made with vanilla extract makes food taste like it's coming from, it's gourmet from a restaurant. Gives you a lot of pleasure, the taste of vanilla. So you take a vanilla bean, you go buy one, right? It's about $12, a vanilla bean. You cut it open, you cut it in little pieces, you open it up to get the inside, and I put the whole thing in it. When I say the whole thing is after opening it up, I put it all in there, the inside and the outside. And when I say in there, I'm talking about in brandy. So my base alcohol will be brandy, right? So as this is soaking, it takes about 3 months. I recommend you make two of them, one for now and one for sitting for later, because you will want to make it with your hot cereal. You can make I make a hot cereal out of amaranth seed. Um, Amaranth spikes up glucose. The other thing I didn't tell you is, well, let me finish up with this brandy, right, and this vanilla bean and making vanilla extract. When we cook with the extract, the vanilla extract, because it's an alcohol, when it cooks, the alcohol effect goes away and only the flavor lasts. So if this looks crazy and you're like, oh, I don't do alcohol in my food, it'll make me drunk. It won't, because the heat burns off the effects of the alcohol. Again, left with the flavor. But this won't, brandy won't drop an won't trigger an autoimmune response. I take tequila. I can't do vodka because it's a potato. I don't do vodka also because they're corn. You can get vodka from a corn or potato. The vodka brands out there. So I do tequila. I do brandy. I do red wine. I actually had some right before we started. Oh, shoot, I still got some right now. Brought, still have some right now. So even if we're doing a diet we have in our mind that a diet is sad, it's restrictive, it's painful, it's tasteless. I'm trying to bring passion back into food. under the fucking circumstances, right? Passion back into food because, well, let's face it, food is passion. Brings family, brings unity, camaraderie. I mean, it's a joy. You feel pleasure from creating foods. And if we lack that passion and pleasure in food, fuck, life sucks. That's all I gotta say. Life's painful. Life is already painful, so we gotta start bringing some joy back. And I want to do it through the food. So you can enjoy some wine. You can enjoy some wine because the body's not getting fat from it. The body's not getting weak from it. It's not getting broken down from it. From what I'm trying to show you guys right here. That's what I'm saying. So you can still eat, still enjoy, still stay strong, and keep that defense up, right? Keep that defense up. So those are the alcohols I take: tequila, brandy, red wine, and I pretty much keep it at that. Uh, no rum because it's sugar cane. No vodka. Again, it's potato or corn. And so you just look for the basis of what it's extracted from. Well, I don't have any questions right now. All right. Just want to make sure I'm paying attention. Mm. Fruits, we went over that pretty much. I look for fruits that are low in sugar because I don't want to, and I only eat them every once in a while. Once in a while, just a little pleasure, little bite, little joy. Coming home from work, pop in a couple frozen berries, love it, leave it. Uh, Making fruit your main meal or big part of your meal or a lot of your meal just creates a lot of sugar, and we got a lot of bacteria, a lot of parasites. People don't like to hear that they got parasites. If we all assume we got parasites and we all do something to deparasite, guess what? We ain't got no fucking parasites for sure. That's the way to look at it. And parasites, bacteria, bad bacteria, let's say that, love sugar, and they'll send signals to the brain to say, "Feed me, motherfucker. I want some food." And so you go get that sugar, but not because you want it, but it's because you're getting sent a signal to feed them. To feed motherfuckers who aren't paying rent in the body and are taking over our space, and it's making us feel lethargic and weak and broken. It causes all kinds of other problems, right? And so minimal sugar is best. When I say minimal sugar, is like minimal adding sugar to the diet. You want to go into something that's zero in effect to the body, zero as far as the body doesn't register it, because food turns into glucose, food turns into sugar. And so the more fat in the food, the less insulin our body has to create to break down and distribute that sugar into the cells, right? So high fat, then proteins, light on carbs. If you have carbs, those are the those are the ones that I use. Fruits, went over that. Do oranges, lemons. Lemons are great. You put some lemon in your water, and what that's going to do is going to clean out the blood because it helps clean up the fatty livers that we all got. We all got fatty livers, not because of alcoholism. We all got fatty livers because of the amount of toxins our livers can't handle. So the lemon ends up cleaning up that area and helps move it out. So the liver, the kidney, lemon, big go to. Put it in your water. It also hydrates the cells. So the minerals and the properties, the vitamin C, the potassium, what's inside the lemon activates like an electrolyte. It's like an easy electrolyte, right? Real cheap and expensive electrolyte. Because if we don't have an electrolyte when the water's going in, it just bypasses and slips through the cell, and then we just urinate it out and we don't hydrate. And so to get supple skin, we need to hydrate. To get functionality, we need to hydrate. The cells need to be drinking. It's like a straw, right? Electrolyte is like a straw from the cell to the water that is, sucks it in. So putting some lemon in the water is a big deal to clean up the kidney, liver, and hydrate and make the body full and youthful and functional. We went over the no sugar. What else? Oh, canned milk. A lot of people like to have cream and coffee. I had to stop taking coffee. Love coffee, but it's a beans are a group of lentils, right? Not lentils. Lentils and beans are legumes. That's what I wanted to say, are legumes. And so legumes, a lot of people love them, right? And don't want to leave them, but try for 40 days. Because they also, every single legume, there's not one legume that won't. They all have a high lectin protein that affects, again, The system, poop comes out of our intestines, our body goes into fucking defense mode, and we don't know this shit is happening. So what did our grandparents and our ancestors used to do? They used to soak them, they used to pressure cook them, they used to do all kinds of different things to get the high lectin off of um, the legume. I keep wanting to say lentil, right? Off of the legume, and then they go through the cooking process. We don't do that shit no more. When we go buy canned beans and we buy this and we buy that, it hasn't gone through that process. Soy for the Chinese. The reason why the Chinese can have soy sauce is because they ferment that shit for a whole fucking year. You see what I'm saying? Do we do that? No. The soy sauce we get fermented maybe a month or two. It needs to go through a process of fermentation for a year to break down that lectin. So what our grandparents and our ancients did, our ancestors did before, is not what we're doing now. And we live in the most highly toxic reality that they never lived. So compare all that, right? That y'all have to do these extreme things just to be able to get by. And I don't want to say, well, yeah, survive. Shit, it's like survival. And recognizing that I'm going to be 50 years old in October this year, and I'm getting younger and stronger and faster and fucking better, I'm going back. I'm okay with this diet. Then enjoy my wine, enjoy my brandy, still live life, have a steak, some broccoli, little sheep's butter, some red wine. I eat very well. I eat very well. When I'm broke and I'm poor and I'm living outside, no, I don't eat very well. Fucking trying to survive. I gotta fucking survive. That's a socioeconomic problem. Right? A socioeconomic problem. So because I've been in those shoes, I make this for the most poor to those who can afford. It's a soldier's diet is being able to make the adjustment in whatever environment, take whatever food is available, but as long it's not tripwiring, cause and effect where an immune response is going off, popping off. And that's how our body's able to regenerate, restructure, renew, regrow, redo. But it can't do that if it's always on fucking defense. The cashews, the almonds, all those have high lectins on it, but yet we're told to eat the shit out of them every day on the almond butter, almond milk, cashew milk. Look those things up. They have high lectins, right? And it's just sad that our system has set it up so that we're always on the weekend, on the short end of the stick, and we got to start turning this shit around. And we're just doing it by loving some food and enjoying it, right? Enjoying it. I want to show you something real quick that I didn't show you. It's important. These tortillas right here, flour tortillas. They're on the expensive side, but if you're not making your own tortillas and you want to buy them, it's Siete brand. I'm going to be putting out little videos, 1 minute, 2 minute videos on why I buy that. Why I buy this hot dog. Why I buy this cheese. No more posting pictures. I'm going to do little 1 minute, 2 minute videos, and it'll make some sense, and you know where to go buy it, right? These hearts of palm for little pastas and rice, right? So the size, the way it's cut, gives the feeling of um, having that sense of the rice without the rice, that sense of the pasta without the pasta. They do have pastas out there, like I said, cassava. I haven't hit them. I looked them up or tried them. That's going to be one of my next steps. But I don't do too much carbohydrates unless I'm working physically really hard. If you're working physically really hard and you're in a $1,500 or $1,500, 1,500 calorie a day, I'm attentive to how many carbohydrates I put in. Right now, I'm not moving too much because my foot don't work right. So I want to take it easy on the carbohydrates. When it comes to tuna, I'm trying to pop off everything that I put on this table. We're buying tuna, and the tuna has a soy isolate, has a vegetable broth, which is soy, and these words are what we don't want because it's creating estrogen. Estrogen collects in the thyroid, and that causes a bunch of thyroid problems, which sends signal problems, wrong signals to the rest of the body, right? It collects in the breast tissue, and this is why men have big breasts. It's not because all of a sudden they fucking forgot what they calling it. Some kind of I don't even want to say it, but I think it's angina or some shit like that. But it's not because of this or because of that. It's because we're being bombarded with estrogen, and so we're turning our males into females. and we're giving females a bunch of problems where they're getting their breasts cut off because they have an excess of estrogen inside of there, right? And then the backsides that are so big they can never lose. There's weight on top of the weight is because in the backside men have big round hips and are becoming feminized, and women can't break down that backside. It's because it's collecting estrogen in those areas. And so stopping the estrogen intake, it's not going to be able to stop it completely, but watch out for it in your tuna. It's a big change, step in the right direction. I'll be doing a video later on how you can block that excess estrogen, loosen up your own free testosterone so you can get that uh, willpower back, that drive back, because testosterone is what the component for the hormone for feeling drive, a sense of want, a sense of desire, uh, passion. Uh, Excess of estrogen is the opposite, almost makes us depressed, low, slow, down. So and it's not the estrogen is bad, is that they both got to balance out, right? And we just none of us are getting enough of our own testosterone to function with that balance. Going back to the coffee, I take black tea and green tea, I put them together, and I use this brand. This is the most common brand across America because I've been across America, and the one common brand is this brand, right? So I have a Costco one on which evaporated milk. So I got different brands of evaporated milk, but this pet one is the one I found across the board, across the US, that you'd be able to find. It doesn't have any soy, any modified food starch of any kind. And so even if you go get an evaporated milk, they won't drop your immune system. So raw milk, cow's milk, and evaporated milk will not, I don't want to say drop the immune system, will not trigger an immune response for one reason, is because raw milk hasn't been cooked off to become bad for the system. And what it is we have casein A and casein A1 and casein A2. When it gets pasteurized, it gets cooked. One of the caseins gets dissolved, it's gone, and there's no defense. And so the bad casein stays on, meaning the high lectin protein doesn't have its defense anymore, which balanced it out, which doesn't cause that trigger when we have it raw. So when we have it in raw form, we can consume it, and there's no immune response. In fact, it builds up the body. Everything that you need to create life is in raw milk, is in honey, is in bee pollen, and is in eggs. And those are the best foods to build anything in the body, for building in the body in general, right? But once it becomes pasteurized, that defense is gone. The high lectin protein kicks in, the intestines open up, shit comes out of our intestines into our body, and a fuck show happens. It's a fuckery. All kinds of different kinds of problems go on in the body. You can look that up and see all the different thousands of problems that happen when with an autoimmune response. What does it mean? What does it pop off? Pops up. Depends on your body, right? Depends on your body. Depends on your genetics. But there are problems nonstop. Again, goat's milk and sheep's milk, doesn't matter if they're pasteurized or not, don't have that high lectin protein problem at all. So if you get those in butter, that's the best way to go for goat milk and sheep milk and butter. Ghee is a butter from what it is. Ghee is butter that's been cooked down to the point where it burns off the high lectin, and that's why that's better for you. But I haven't found one that's really, really good, meaning I still get a reaction from it. It'd have to be better. It'd have to be better for me to recommend it. So I just go with sheep butter and goat milk butter when I want to butter. What do I want to go back to? Oh, you can look up something called rawmilk.com so that you can find where you can find raw milk across the United States, because they try to make it illegal for the sale of raw milk. Doesn't matter why, because it can go into a long, he said, she said. But if you want raw milk, go to rawmilk.com and you can find it in the States. What's You can find it across the United States. That's what I'm trying to say. Trying to get everything in here at the same time at all times. Trader Joe's has this awesome sliced goat milk cheese. So you can actually have a sliced cheese and put it in your sandwich. So I make bread. It's almost like a flat bread, right? And you put your cheese in there, and you put your meats in there, and all your delicious whatever you like, and you take off and you go. Mayonnaise and mustard. Those I'm gonna have to post those for you guys to watch on my snafu free food list. I'm trying to figure out everything I'm trying to say. I'm trying to get it all in there. On Instagram, snafu free foods list on Instagram. But I'm gonna start posting right here where you guys can see it on YouTube. The mayonnaise, YouTube, the mustard, YouTube, the cheese, YouTube, the hot dog. Just so the information start feeding out little bits at a time. Because I know talking about it, we'll forget about it, but you can always go back to that little short 1 minute video, right? Short 1 minute video. So this is what I got for you guys. Unless you guys have, oh, coffee beans. Oh, can't close off until I get the coffee beans. So high lectins are in all legumes. Coffee beans are legumes. We're constantly creating that trigger effect with the coffee we drink. I love coffee. I had to let it go. I had to say I had to stop. Now I do black tea, green tea, and I put my stevia, 2 little scoops of this stevia. It comes with a little scooper. Get that at Trader Joe's, and you can order that online too. And then I pour with my head milk. The reason why this evaporated milk is what I wanted to call it. The reason why evaporated milk doesn't cause an immune response if it doesn't have soy or corn or modified starch, right? The reason why it can get away with it is because it's burned off. It cooks it down so low, the milk that was once pasteurized, right? Raw to pasteurized to evaporated, it cooked off the high lectin protein. So it's consumable, right? So unless we know how to treat our vegetables by taking off the skins, our nuts by taking off the skins, our dairy by paying attention, to what dairy we're getting. No pasteurization when it comes to dairy. And what else? What else? What else? Those are the things we got to start paying attention to if we still want to eat them. But it takes a lot of work to work with them, like our great grandparents did and our ancients, our ancestors did, so that it doesn't cause that effect. But just try it this simple way for 40 days, and you'll start seeing that you're not triggering into a syndrome, into a feeling, into a breakdown. You can actually get an opportunity to start feeling some normalcy and building back up. So that's what I got for you guys. That's what I got. Um, I hope it helps. I'm doing my best to figure out how to get all this information out to you guys. So much information. It's like my life. This should have been my life. Because it's not just been since it's tech. I recognize this tech is in the food and shooting out of my body that I had to start repairing. I've been on this mission for over 20 years, learning and picking up all this knowledge and trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. Why is our species being broken down? Because that's how I've always seen it. I said, someone's trying to fuck us over. And people say, oh, that's conspiracy theory. I don't work in the words of theory. I work in the words of it is or it fucking isn't. And it is a fucking problem that we have. We have a fucking problem of something working against our well-being, period. And so this is my effort to help us start building the fuck back up. We can't fucking stand down. We're not gonna. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna. So little by little, I'm gonna start getting this stuff out to you. And I think it's important I tell you that so you know why the fuck it matters to me. To end that, I just wish the best for you guys. Just truth and integrity warrior, Michelle Angelic, and signing off. You guys be well. Oh, you know what? There's some wine. Relax. It's okay. Let me see if I can learn how to turn this thing off. I don't. I don't know. I don't know. I still don't know how to turn this motherfucker off. I don't know. I don't know. I gotta turn my phone off. I didn't do a test to see if I know how to turn this motherfucker off. All right. Here we go. Oh my God, I'm breaking shit. Are you sure you want to stop streaming? Ah, it has a little